Commander Alex Reeves adjusted his formal diplomatic uniform as he stepped into the grand reception hall of the Galactic Summit. The massive chamber sparkled with bioluminescent decorations that shifted colors in rhythm with the ambient music, a thoughtful touch from the host species to create an atmosphere comfortable for all attendees. As Earth's first representative to such a prestigious gathering, Alex felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. 6 months ago, humanity had made its official entrance into the galactic community, and every interaction now could shape centuries of future relations. "Commander Reeves, your presence honors us," chittered a Vexillian diplomat, its translucent exoskeleton glowing with formal greeting patterns. The younger species bring fresh perspectives to our ancient halls. Alex nodded respectfully. Earth is grateful for the welcome we've received from the Galactic Council. The Vexillian's antennae twitched in what Alex had learned was amusement. "Not all welcome you with equal enthusiasm, Commander. The Mechthar Conclave considers your admission premature." Before Alex could respond, the Vexillian was called away by another diplomat. Left alone, Alex surveyed the room, noting the various alliance groupings. The Mechthar representatives stood in perfect geometric formation, their metallic skin reflecting the light in precise patterns. They had voted against Earth's admission, citing humanity's cognitive inefficiencies and emotional contamination as reasons to delay full membership. Alex was reaching for a glass of the non-intoxicating ceremonial beverage when he felt a presence behind him. The fine hairs on his neck stood up. An instinctive reaction his diplomatic training hadn't managed to suppress. "Your species still maintains its predator alertness responses. Fascinating." He turned to find himself face to face with a Lyrathian woman. Her skin shimmered like polished sapphire in the ambient light, with subtle patterns that shifted beneath the surface. Her eyes, 3 of them, arranged in a triangular pattern, were silver with vertical pupils that evaluated him with unmistakable intelligence. The Lyrathians were among the most mysterious members of the Council. Their delegation had supported Earth's admission, but had otherwise maintained a puzzling distance from human representatives. "We haven't been formally introduced," Alex said, offering the universal greeting gesture. "Commander Alexander Reeves, representing Earth." The woman didn't mirror his gesture. Instead, she stepped closer, her head tilting slightly. "Do you remember me, human?" The question caught Alex off guard. A chill ran through him as unexpected familiarity washed over his consciousness. Something about her voice resonated in his mind, like the echo of a half-forgotten dream. "I'm sorry, but we never met," he replied carefully. "Humans and Lyrathians established formal contact only 3 months ago." She smiled, an expression so human-like it was unsettling on her alien features. Not in this timeline, perhaps. Alex's diplomatic training hadn't prepared him for cryptic statements about timelines. "I don't understand." "You will." Her third eye blinked independently of the others. The Mechthar believe they understand time because they can measure it. They are children drawing lines in sand while the tide approaches. A commotion across the room drew Alex's attention momentarily, a minor disagreement between Centaurian delegates. When he looked back, the Lyrathian woman had vanished. For the remainder of the reception, Alex searched for her without success. When he inquired about her with other Lyrathian delegates, they exchanged meaningful glances but offered only polite deflections. That night, in his quarters aboard the Earth diplomatic vessel, Alex reported the strange encounter to his superiors. Ambassador Chen's holographic image frowned. "The Lyrathians are temporal specialists, Commander. Their perception of reality doesn't always align with linear experience." "She said she knew me," Alex insisted. And somehow, it felt true. Chen's expression grew concerned. "Tread carefully, Commander. We know very little about Lyrathene abilities. They rarely interact directly with other species, yet they specifically requested your presence at the summit." As Alex prepared for sleep, the woman's voice echoed in his mind. "Do you remember me, human?" For the first time in his life, Alex felt certainty about something he couldn't possibly know. They had met before, somewhere beyond memory. 3 weeks after returning to Earth, Alex woke gasping from another vivid dream. The Lyrathene woman, he now knew her as Nyara in these dreams, had been explaining something about quantum resonance fields while they stood on a balcony overlooking a city of crystalline spires. The conversation had felt so real, so detailed, that waking brought disorientation rather than clarity. He switched on the light and noted the time, 3:17 a.m. The 4th night this week he'd been awakened by these episodes. Each dream contained discussions about advanced physics concepts he couldn't possibly know. His background was in diplomacy and xenanthropology, not theoretical quantum mechanics. Alex's comm unit chimed with an incoming call from his sister. Maya never called this late unless something was important. "I need you at the lab," she said without preamble, her eyes bright with excitement or fear. Alex couldn't tell which. "Now, Alex, this can't wait." 40 minutes later, he entered Maya's research facility at the Earth Science Directorate. She was waiting, surrounded by holographic displays showing brain scan imagery. "These are yours," she said, gesturing to the most prominent display. "From your standard post-mission medical examination, I called in a favor to access them." Alex studied the complex neural patterns, seeing nothing unusual to his untrained eye. "Why are you looking at my brain scans at 3 in the morning?" "Because they're impossible." Maya manipulated the display, highlighting regions in pulsing red. "These neural patterns shouldn't exist in your temporal lobe. They represent memories, but with signature markers I've only seen in one other place." She pulled up another display showing similar patterns. "The Lyrathene artifacts we've been studying." Alex felt a chill spread through his body. What does that mean? The artifacts contain information storage systems that function through temporal displacement. They don't just record information, they exist partially outside our normal time stream. And your brain is showing the same patterns, like you've been. I don't know how to explain this scientifically. Remembering events that haven't happened yet. Alex described his dreams to Maya, the conversations with Nyara, the advanced theories they discussed, the settings on worlds he'd never visited. Maya listened intently, making notes. "The physics concepts you're describing, they are beyond cutting edge. Some of these ideas haven't even been theorized yet. Could the Lyratheans have planted these somehow? Some kind of espionage tactic?" Alex suggested. Maya frowned. "Possibly, but why? And how would they access such advanced human theoretical physics to plant in your mind? This is beyond even our classified research." Their discussion was interrupted by Alex's secure communicator. The message was brief. The Lyrathene High Council had extended an unprecedented invitation for Commander Reeves to visit their homeworld, the first non-Lyrathene ever to receive such an honor. "This can't be coincidence," Maya said, studying her brother's face. "What should I do?" Alex asked, though he already knew his decision. "Go," Maya replied without hesitation. "But I'm coming with you. Someone needs to monitor these neural changes, and the Lyratheans are the only ones who might have answers." 3 days later, as they prepared to board the diplomatic vessel that would transport them to Lyrathea, Captain Serrano of Earth Security approached them. The captain's expression was grim as she handed Alex a data tablet. "New intelligence, Commander. The Lyrathians have never invited any species to their homeworld in their entire 7,000-year membership in the Galactic Council. Not once." Alex studied the information. "Why now? Why me?" "That's what makes our security division nervous," Serrano replied. "Their official explanation is that you possess a temporal resonance signature of significance, whatever that means." That night, as their ship entered faster-than-light travel, Alex dreamed again. This time, Nyara stood before him clearly, her three eyes focused intently on his. "The memories are beginning to align," she said. "When we meet again in physical space, remember this. Time is not a river flowing in one direction. It is an ocean, and we are about to face the tide." The Lyrathian homeworld emerged from the darkness of space like a jewel set against the void. Concentric rings of crystalline structures orbited the azure planet, catching and refracting starlight in hypnotic patterns. "Those aren't natural formations," Maya said, standing beside Alex at the observation deck. "The entire system has been engineered." Captain Serrano joined them, her security team maintaining a respectful distance. "Our sensors indicate those rings are generating some kind of temporal field. Time itself moves differently within their influence." As their ship approached the designated landing coordinates, a fleet of elegant Lyrathian vessels formed an escort formation around them. Their designs defied conventional engineering, structures that seemed to phase in and out of full materialization, as if they existed partially in another dimension. "They're beautiful," Maya whispered. "And impossibly advanced," Serrano added grimly. "Remember your training, Commander." "I still don't trust coincidences." Upon landing, Alex was surprised when the welcoming party requested that he come alone to their central citadel. Captain Serrano immediately objected. "Our diplomatic protocols require that Commander Reeves maintain his security detail at all times," she insisted. The Lyrathian official, a tall male with midnight blue skin and ceremonial markings, regarded her with all three eyes blinking in sequence. "Captain, your protective instincts honor your duty. However, there are temporal sensitives in the central consciousness chamber that can be disrupted by multiple unaligned human neural patterns. The commander's pattern is compatible. Others are not." After a tense negotiation, they reached a compromise. Alex would proceed alone, but Maya would monitor his neural patterns remotely, and he would maintain an open communication link. The citadel was unlike any structure Alex had ever encountered. From outside, it appeared to be carved for a single massive crystal. Inside, it defied spatial logic. Corridors that should have intersected didn't, and chambers seemed larger within than their external dimensions suggested. His guide led him through a spiraling passage that descended deep into the structure. "The central consciousness chamber exists at what your physics would call a temporal nexus point," the Lyrathian explained. "Multiple time streams converge here." The chamber itself was a perfect sphere, its interior surface reflecting light in subtle pulses that matched Alex's heartbeat. In the center stood Nera. Seeing her in person rather than dreams sent a shock of recognition through Alex. She wore formal attire that flowed around her like liquid starlight. "Welcome to Lyrathia, Commander Reeves," she said formally, then glanced at his communication device. "Perhaps we could speak privately." Alex hesitated, then switched off the device. "My security team won't like that." "I understand their concern, but what I must show you requires intimacy of consciousness." She gestured to a crystalline platform. As they both stepped onto it, the chamber around them seemed to dissolve, replaced by a panoramic view of a laboratory. Alex saw himself, older, with streaks of grey in his hair, working alongside Nyara at a complex console. In my present, which is your future. We've known each other for 20 years, she explained. This is a temporal echo, a memory from my time stream. The scene shifted again, showing them standing before what appeared to be a massive energy shield as something dark and formless pressed against it from the other side. My species perceives time as a continuum rather than a linear progression. We can project our consciousness backward, but only to connect with minds that share a neural resonance with our own. Alex watched in fascination as more scenes flickered around them. Collaborative work, tense moments of crisis, quiet conversations in unfamiliar settings. Why do we have this connection? He asked. How is it possible? Nyara's 3 eyes focused on him with an intensity that made his skin tingle. Because in my timeline, you and I have formed a bond that transcends conventional temporal limitations. She hesitated, then placed her hand against his temple. I can show you more clearly. The moment her skin touched his, a cascade of fragmented memories flooded through Alex's mind. Knowledge, emotions, and experiences that weren't his but somehow felt intimately familiar. When the connection broke, he steadied himself against the platform's edge. Something catastrophic is coming, he whispered, the knowledge suddenly clear in his mind. Nyara nodded solemnly. In my timeline, you became the most important human in galactic history. The question now is whether we can change what happens next. We call it the void current, Nyara explained as she guided Alex through a spherical chamber where temporal projections surrounded them like a 3-dimensional planetarium. A wave of energy that moves between galaxies, consuming stellar systems and extinguishing all life. The projections showed a dark, undulating mass spreading across star systems, leaving nothing but dead worlds in its wake. Alex watched as a vibrant blue planet, teeming with civilization, dimmed and went dark as the phenomenon passed through it. Was that? Not Earth, Nyara assured him. That was Caldera, the 7th civilization to fall in my timeline. 17 worlds have been consumed thus far. Alex studied the projections with growing concern. How do you know about this if it hasn't reached us yet? My species detected the void current centuries ago through our temporal senses. We exist partially outside your conventional time stream, allowing us to perceive echoes of potential futures. She manipulated the projection controls, zooming out to display the galaxy. A dark wave approached from the outer rim, still distant but unmistakable. In most probable timelines, it reaches the first populated systems within 30 years. If you've known for centuries, why hasn't the Galactic Council prepared defenses? Nyara's expression darkened. The dominant council species, the Mekthar Conclave, refuse to acknowledge threats they cannot measure with their current technology. They consider our temporal perceptions to be evolutionary defects and dismiss our warnings as superstition. She led him to another section of the chamber where a different projection appeared, a massive energy shield intercepting and dispersing the dark wave. We witnessed countless potential futures, Nyara continued. In one timeline, just one, the void current was successfully contained. That timeline featured a unique defense system designed by humans and Larthians working together. The projection shifted to show Alex's older self, explaining a theoretical model to a group of human and Larthian scientists. Though he couldn't hear the words, Alex recognized equations and diagrams that combined principles of quantum mechanics with concepts entirely unfamiliar to him. I don't understand these theories, Alex admitted. My background is in diplomacy, not theoretical physics. Yet in this timeline, You became the bridge between our species' different approaches to science. The Lyrathine understanding of temporal mechanics, combined with humanity's unique intuitive approach to problem-solving, created something neither civilization could achieve alone. Alex turned to face her directly. Why me? There are thousands of human scientists better qualified. Nyara's 3 eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture Alex was beginning to recognize as thoughtfulness. Science wasn't the barrier. The Mechthar blocked all official cooperation between our species once they realized the implications. You, a diplomat with connections to both Earth's scientific community through your sister and the political authority to circumvent Mechthar interference, became the essential catalyst. She touched a control, and the projection changed to show a massive fleet of angular metallic ships, Mechthar vessels, forming a blockade around a Lyrathine outpost. The Mechthar fear what they cannot control, Nyara explained. Their evolutionary path eliminated what they call cognitive inefficiencies, intuition, emotional reasoning, creative leaps. They believe pure logic represents the pinnacle of evolution. And they see humans as primitive because we still rely on intuition and emotion, Alex realized. Precisely. But those very qualities allowed your species to perceive patterns in the void current that the Mechthar's sequential logical approach couldn't process. Nyara's voice softened. In my timeline, by the time the Mechthar acknowledged the threat, billions had already perished. The chamber darkened as a final projection materialized, a laboratory where Alex's future self and Nyara stood before a pulsing energy matrix. His future self looked weary, but determined as he placed his hand on a crystalline interface. "What am I doing there?" Alex asked. Nyara hesitated before answering. Making a choice that saved countless lives. She deactivated the projection before he could ask more questions. But perhaps in this timeline, we can find another way. Absolutely not, the Earth Security Council's holographic representatives said in near unison. We cannot allocate resources to combat a threat we can't verify based solely on the word of an alien species. 2 weeks had passed since Alex's return from Lyrathia. The diplomatic crisis had escalated when he presented the Lyrathine findings to Earth's leadership. Despite Maya's supporting analysis, skepticism prevailed. With respect, Alex argued, the neural data from my examinations confirms the Lyrathine account. The temporal resonance patterns are objectively measurable. Admiral Wilson, head of Earth Security, leaned forward. Commander Reeves, your loyalty isn't in question, but your objectivity might be. These memories could be implanted. For all we know, the Lyrathines are manipulating you for their own purposes. The meeting ended without resolution. Outside the conference room, Maya waited with a determined expression. They said no, Alex confirmed. Then we proceed unofficially, she replied, handing him a secure data tablet. I've assembled a team willing to work outside official channels, scientists who trust my judgment, and I've reached out to my Lyrathine contacts. Alex scanned the roster. Dr. Katsuo Ishida, the physicist whose quantum field manipulation theories were rejected by the Science Institute. His approaches were too unconventional for the establishment, Maya explained as they walked toward her private laboratory. But unconventional is exactly what we need right now. The unofficial research team assembled in an abandoned mining facility beneath the Pacific Ocean, a relic from the resource wars repurposed as a private research station. Lyrathine scientists joined remotely through quantum entanglement communication devices, bypassing standard channels that might alert the Mechthar. Progress came in fits and starts. The human scientists struggled to comprehend Lyarthene temporal concepts, while the Lyartheans found human scientific methodology frustratingly linear. The breakthrough came during a late-night session when Dr. Ishida presented an unorthodox approach. "We've been trying to stop the void current," he said, his holographic display showing traditional barrier models. "But what if we're misunderstanding its fundamental nature?" Alex watched with growing excitement as Ishida manipulated the simulation models. Something about the physicist's approach resonated with fragments of knowledge from his temporal memory flashes. "It's not destroying matter," Alex said suddenly, the realization surfacing from somewhere deep in his consciousness. "It's shifting it into a parallel dimensional state." Ishida looked up sharply. "Exactly. We don't need to stop it. We need to create a harmonic resonance that prevents the shift." Working through the night, they developed a preliminary model for a prototype defense node that could generate the specific frequency required to counteract the void current's dimensional shifting effect. As dawn broke, Maya entered the lab with grave news. The first evidence of the void current has appeared. A monitoring station at the edge of charted space reported a star system going silent 12 hours ago. All signals ceased simultaneously. The team's urgency increased. Over the next 3 days, they refined the prototype design and began construction of a small-scale test unit. Their progress attracted unwanted attention. On the 4th day, security alarms blared throughout the facility. "Breach in Section C," the automated system announced. "Unknown intruders detected." Alex and Maya raced toward the prototype lab to find Dr. Ishida confronting a Mechthar operative. The intruder's metallic skin beamed under the emergency lighting as it accessed the main computer terminal. "Stop," Alex commanded, drawing his emergency sidearm. The Mechthar turned, its expressionless face regarding him with cold calculation. "Commander Reeves, your interference is predictable." "How did you find us?" Maya demanded. "Your efforts leave temporal signatures we can detect," the Mechthar replied. "This isn't the first time you've reached this point in development. In every timeline iteration Nyara has attempted, our intervention has succeeded in stopping you." A chill ran through Alex. "What do you mean, every timeline?" "Your Lyarthene associate has attempted this sequence 17 times. The operative stated with mechanical precision. Each attempt ends in failure. This timeline is the furthest you've progressed, but the outcome remains inevitable." Security personnel burst into the room, training weapons on the intruder. The Mechthar made no move to resist as they secured him. "Why are you interfering?" Alex asked. "The void current threatens all life, including yours." "The threat is acceptable," the Mechthar replied. "The alternative is worse." "What alternative?" The operative's metallic features remained impassive, but something like disdain entered its voice. "A galaxy where the apex of evolution is determined by human emotion rather than Mechthar logic. A galaxy where the apex of evolution is determined by human emotion rather than Mechthar logic." The Mechthar operative's words haunted Alex in the days that followed. Their facility had been relocated to a Lyarthene outpost on Europa, Jupiter's ice-covered moon. Earth governments officially denied knowledge of their operation, while quietly providing resources through back channels. As their prototype defense system neared completion, Alex's connection to Nyara's timelines strengthened. His dreams became increasingly vivid, less like fragments and more like continuous memories. One evening, he found himself unable to distinguish which experiences were current and which were echoes from potential futures. "Your neural patterns are stabilizing across temporal planes," Nyara explained as she monitored his condition. They stood together in the observation dome, watching Jupiter's swirling storms through the transparent ceiling. "The barriers between timelines are thinning for you." "Is that dangerous?" he asked. "Not physically, but it can be disorienting. For my species, this is natural. We perceive multiple temporal states simultaneously." She hesitated. "There's something I need to show you. Something I've been reluctant to reveal." They returned to her laboratory, where she activated a private temporal projection. The scene materialized around them, the two of them sitting on a rocky outcropping overlooking an alien ocean. Their future selves were clearly comfortable in each other's presence, shoulders touching as they watched twin moons rise over the horizon. Most advanced species evolve toward pure logic and optimization-based intelligence, future Nyara was saying in the memory. The Mekthar consider themselves the pinnacle because they eliminated what they call cognitive inefficiencies, intuition, emotional reasoning, creative leaps. Future Alex nodded. Earth's early AA researchers made similar attempts, creating systems based on pure logic. They consistently underperformed compared to hybrid models that incorporated analogical reasoning. "Exactly," future Nyara replied, her hand moving to rest on his. "Those very qualities allow humans to perceive patterns in the void current that other species cannot. The Mekthar fear this suggests their evolutionary path is flawed." The projection faded, leaving Alex and present Nyara standing alone in the lab. "In my timeline, our professional collaboration evolved into something deeper," she said softly. "I wanted you to understand why the Mekthar see humans as such a threat to their worldview. Your species represents a different path, one that values what they've discarded." Before Alex could respond, an alert sounded. Maya's voice came over the communication system. "We've got a situation. The Mekthar fleet is moving to intercept an approaching tendril of the void current near the Proxima system." In the command center, they watched as the Mekthar vessels arranged themselves in perfect geometric formation around the spatial anomaly where the void current had been detected. Their approach was methodical, sequential, and entirely predictable. "They're trying to create a symmetric dispersal field," one of the Lyrathene scientists observed. "A logical approach based on known energy dispersion principles." The attempt failed catastrophically. The void current pulsed, shifting into a pattern the Mekthar hadn't predicted. Two vessels vanished instantly, their matter converted to something undetectable by their sensors. "We need to test our prototype now," Alex decided, turning to the team. "Prepare the test drone for deployment to these coordinates." Hours later, they launched their prototype, a small unmanned craft equipped with the quantum resonance generator they had developed. Alex monitored its approach from the control room, making intuitive adjustments to the field modulation based on visual patterns he couldn't fully explain, but somehow understood. "It's working," Maya whispered as they watched the void current tendril recoil from the drone's influence. "The dimensional shift is reversing." News of their success spread quickly through classified channels. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session and finally acknowledged the threat. But their victory was short-lived. Admiral Wilson's grave face appeared on their communications screen. "The Mekthar High Command has declared your defense system a greater threat than the void current itself. They claim it represents unacceptable species subjugation through temporal manipulation. Their armada has changed course. They are heading to Europa." The estimated arrival time gave them less than 12 hours to evacuate. As the team hurriedly packed essential equipment, Alex found Nyara staring at the prototype blueprints, her expression unreadable. "This has happened before, hasn't it?" he asked. "In your previous attempts?" Yes, she admitted, but never this successfully. We've never gotten this far. She looked up at him with all three eyes focused intently. We're breaking the cycle, Alex. This time might be different. The evacuation was chaotic but efficient. Within 6 hours, the team had relocated to an abandoned Lyrathene outpost near the Galactic Rim, a research station built within a hollowed-out asteroid. The facility's existence had been deliberately omitted from official Galactic Council records. The Mechthar don't know about this place, Nyara explained as they established their systems. It was constructed during our early temporal experiments, before we joined the Council. That evening, as the team worked to reassemble the prototype, Alex found himself drawing diagrams and making adjustments he couldn't consciously explain. His hands moved with certainty, while his mind struggled to understand the knowledge flowing through him. Maya noticed her brother's strange behavior. You're accessing them, aren't you? The memories from other timelines. They don't feel like memories, Alex replied, studying the modifications he just completed. More like intuition. I know this will work, but I can't explain why. Later, when most of the team had retired to their quarters, Nyara sought Alex out in the observation dome. The asteroid's position offered a spectacular view of the galactic core, billions of stars concentrated in a glowing spiral. It's time I told you everything, she said quietly, activating a personal temporal projector. In the original timeline, the void current devastated half the galaxy before a defense system was created. The projection showed ruined worlds, refugee fleets, and entire systems consumed by darkness. Then it shifted to show Alex and Nyara in a laboratory not unlike their current facility. We worked together for 20 years, she continued. Our professional collaboration evolved into something deeper, a bond that transcended our species' differences. The images showed them growing older together through years of research, setbacks, and small victories. Alex was struck by the easy intimacy between their future selves. Hands brushing as they worked, silent communications through glances, the unmistakable connection of two beings who understood each other completely. When the system was finally ready, it required a consciousness to guide its operations, one that could make intuitive adjustments to counter the void current's unpredictable patterns. The projection changed to show his older self preparing for some kind of procedure, surrounded by complex equipment. You volunteered. Nyara's voice broke slightly. Your consciousness became the core of the defense matrix, allowing it to operate with human intuition rather than programmed responses. The process consumed your physical form, but saved billions of lives. The image showed his future self entering a chamber filled with swirling energy. When the process completed, his body was gone, but the defense matrix pulsed with a new awareness. I couldn't accept losing you, she admitted. I used our temporal technology to project myself backward, attempting to find a solution where you wouldn't need to sacrifice yourself. Each time I've tried, events aligned differently, but they always converge toward the same point. The defense system needs a human consciousness at its core. Alex absorbed this revelation in silence, watching the projection show Nyara's repeated attempts across multiple timelines, each ending with either the void current's victory or his sacrifice. That's why you recognized me at the summit, he realized. Across every timeline, every iteration, we find each other. Yes, she whispered. Some connections transcend temporal boundaries. A proximity alarm interrupted the moment. Maya rushed into the dome, her expression grim. We've got a problem. A Mechthar scout ship just entered the asteroid field. They must have tracked our quantum signature. Alex made a quick decision. How close is the prototype to operational status? 90% complete, Maya replied. But we haven't tested the neural interface component. There's no time for testing now. Alex turned to Nyara, understanding flooding through him as more timeline memories aligned in his consciousness. The neural interface was always meant for me, wasn't it? That's why I'm compatible with your temporal perceptions. Nyara nodded solemnly. In every timeline where we succeed, your consciousness guides the system. Then we proceed with integration, he stated firmly. But Maya's been working on modifications to the interface. Show her your complete temporal records of the original procedure. There might be a way to preserve my physical form while still establishing the necessary connection. As the Mekthar fleet approached their hiding place, Alex recognized the convergence point Nyara had described, all timelines flowing toward this crucial moment of decision. But for the first time, he sensed a new possibility, a pathway that hadn't existed in previous iterations. This time will be different, he told Nyara, taking her hand. I remember enough now to change the outcome. The integration chamber hummed with energy as Maya made final adjustments to the neural interface. Outside the asteroid, sensors tracked the approaching Mekthar fleet, 15 vessels in attack formation, less than 30 minutes away. This is different from the original design, Maya explained, calibrating the quantum field stabilizers. Instead of transferring your consciousness completely into the matrix, this creates a quantum entanglement between your neural patterns and the system. Your mind will exist in both places simultaneously. Alex lay on the interface platform, electrodes attached to his temples. Has this been tested? Never, she admitted. But the theory is sound. It's built on Dr. Ishida's quantum resonance principles combined with Larthian temporal mechanics. Nyara approached, carrying a crystalline device. This contains the complete temporal records of all previous iterations. It might help stabilize the connection across timelines. As the team made final preparations, Admiral Wilson's face appeared on the communications screen. Commander Reeves, we've dispatched a defensive fleet to your position, but they won't arrive in time. The Galactic Council is in emergency session. Several species have broken with the Mekthar and pledged support for your efforts. It may not matter, Alex replied. If this works, the void current will be our priority, not the Mekthar. The station shuddered as the first Mekthar weapons impacted the asteroid's surface. Warning systems flashed throughout the facility. Hull breach in Section C, the automated system announced. Structural integrity at 70% and declining. We're out of time, Moya urged. It's now or never. Alex looked at Nyara, decades of shared experiences, both lived and yet to be lived, passing between them. In every previous timeline, did I hesitate at this moment? Never, she answered softly. Not once. He nodded and closed his eyes as Maya activated the integration sequence. The chamber filled with swirling light as quantum fields aligned around his body. Alex felt his consciousness expanding, stretching beyond physical limitations. His awareness extended into the defense matrix, interfacing with its systems while still maintaining connection to his physical form. Through this expanded perception, he could sense the void current at the edges of the galaxy, a vast, shifting presence that defied conventional understanding. His consciousness reached toward it, intuitively adjusting the defense matrix's frequencies to create a harmonic resonance that prevented dimensional shifting. The void current recoiled, its advance halted by patterns that adapted as quickly as it could change. Through the facility's sensors, Alex perceived the Mekthar ships breaching their outer defenses. With a thought, he extended his awareness to their systems, not to attack, but to share what he was perceiving. "They need to understand," he told Nyara, his voice sounding distant to his own ears. "This isn't about species dominance, it's about complementary approaches." The Mechthar fleet suddenly ceased fire. On the command center screens, their communications officer appeared, its metallic features showing as much confusion as their physiology allowed. "We perceive the pattern now," the Mechthar stated. "Our analytical models failed to predict this dimensional structure. Your intuitive approach has merit we did not calculate." As the void current proceeded from the defense system's influence, Alex felt his consciousness gradually returning to normal parameters. The integration had worked. His mind had successfully interfaced with the Matrix, while his physical form remained intact. Days later, as the Galactic Council established protocols for a galaxy-wide defense network based on their prototype, Alex stood with Nyara in the observation dome of their asteroid facility. "In all your attempts across different timelines, did you ever imagine this outcome?" he asked. "No," she admitted. "This is entirely new territory. We've broken the loop." "Do you remember me now, human?" she asked with a smile that mirrored their first meeting. Alex took her hand, the gesture bridging species, time, and possibility. "I remember everything, every version of us, across all possible timelines." As representatives from dozens of species arrived to study the defense system, a new understanding spread throughout the galaxy. That evolution had many paths, each with its own strengths. The Mechthar began incorporating human cognitive models into their own systems, while humans studied Lyrathene temporal perception techniques. At the center of this confluence stood Alex and Nyara, their connection a testament to possibilities that transcended conventional limitations. "What happens now?" Alex asked as they watched ships of various designs approach their asteroid. "Unknown," Nyara replied, her three eyes bright with anticipation. "That's the beauty of breaking free from predetermined timelines. For the first time, our future isn't an echo I've already experienced. It's truly new." Alex smiled. "Then let's discover it together."